Welcome to the shortened featurette of the Stunt Pod episodes. If you like this, then you can slide along to the Apple Podcasts and download the full episode to be enjoyed at your convenience. Are you sitting comfortably? Then here we go.
Hi, I'm Tammie Baird, and this is the Stunt Pod.
Hello, welcome back to the Stunt Pod. Here we are again. Here we go. Tammie Baird, how are you?
Fine, thank you. And yourself?
Yeah, we're good. John, hello.
Yes, I'm very well. Thank you very much for asking. In fact, it's unpleasantly warm. Not as warm, I imagine, as it is in California.
Oh my goodness, I haven't really looked outside yet. No, it's a
This is where she looks outside and discovers it's hailstones.
Because we always have this thing when we're talking to people in California. They're on a hill and their view is looking over LA, and it's kind of like.
I wish. I don't have that glamorous view. I do have a beautiful tree with squirrels in it, but I don't have that gorgeous view.
But they grow in the tree. They're hanging off. Like,
they do.
It's squirrel season.
Squirrel tree.
They run around to torment my cats. Like, look at it. We're free. We're in a tree. Yeah. They're horrible. They're sexy rats. Sexy rats. That's what I have.
Sexy rats.
Sexy rats with big tails. Yeah.
We call them tree rats.
Oh
tree
yeah,
rats.
that's what they should be.
And pigeons are air rats.
Yeah, they are.
And seagulls are sea rats.
You know what? Oh, I've never heard that about seagulls, but that does make sense.
Hmm.
Yeah. So it's a little overcasty here today in Los Angeles.
Right. So what's your background? You grew up in California. You're from California.
I am. I'm from Northern California. I was born in Livermore, California, which, if any of you guys like to drink wine, Wente Wineries, it's one of my favorites.
Okay.
I always love that. I love the local wines of my hometown. But I grew up in the Tri-Valley, Livermore, Pleasanton, and Dublin. And I love it there. It's absolutely beautiful. I actually just got back yesterday. I was visiting my family up north. So I lived there, raised by my mom for a while. Then I went to live with my grandmother. My brother and I went to live with my grandma for a while, and then we lived with my grandpa for a while. So I think my brother and I were pretty well rounded, getting to live with different family members and having different rules. Living with my grandma Joyce was awesome because she was a horse trainer at Alameda County Fairgrounds in Pleasanton, and she let us be wild, feral kids. And I just loved it. And I think a lot of that time is what led me to be where I am today.
That's presumably where your love of horses originated from, because you're a huge horse fan, aren't you?
Cats, horses, and dogs, like in that order. Yeah, because there were so many cats on the racetrack, and there were so many horses, and then there's dogs too, because they're cuddly and cute.
Because it's funny. I mean, over here with the British stunt registry, you get into stunts via either horses, motorsports, or martial arts or something. Mm-hmm. So, what kind of route took you into your stunt career? Well,
my stunt career was kind of a fluke. I think so. Everything that I had done growing up, like I mentioned, being this wild feral kid, riding horses, rode dirt bikes with my brother, skateboards, running, climbing things. I think that led me to where I am now. So I was working on the film Mr. and Mrs. Smith. I booked it was a little acting stunt role, and I considered it full on acting because that's why I came to LA to be an actress. So I was so excited. I'm like, oh my God, I'm gonna be an actress. This is my big break. And I was doing this part of Mr. and Mrs. Smith. It was very method acting. I had to kind of flirt, make eye contact with Brad Pitt's character, kind of give him some eye contact, like I see you, but now I got to kill you. And it was very method, very hard. I had to really get into it, looking in those beautiful eyes of his. And then
I bet it was a chore for you, wasn't it?
It was so hard. And then Angelina Jolie's character sees this. She shoots me and kills me. And then Brad Pitt's character, he ends up killing my stunt partner, Hank Amos, and we die. And right. It was when the squibs went off, when Angelina shot me, that I call it my Tennessee Williams cat on a hot tin roof moment, minus the booze. It was like everything just clicked, and that's where I knew I was supposed to be.
Right. So everything leading up to that, it had been acting you'd been drawing on being an actress, but because you were in that sequence and there was dialogue and there was action, and you were like 6 inches away from a blood squib going off, that was the moment. You said you mentioned somewhere that it was like there was bells going off, and you suddenly realised this is it. This is why I'm here.
Not so much bells. It was just like a click. It was like everything just snapped, and that's where I was supposed to be. And it was like everything just lined up perfectly. Like this is it, Tam. This is where you go now. And it was amazing. And I told my boss, stunt coordinator, Tim Trella, I said, oh my gosh, I want to do stunts. This is it. He's like, no, save your body, pursue acting. And I'm like, no, you don't understand. I heard the click. Like, you don't get it. And, and how frustrating when you're trying to explain something and people are like, no. And I'm like, no, you don't understand. This is where I'm supposed to be. And so, when I know what I'm supposed to do, I do it. When I get driven or that bug, like the acting bug, like at a young age, I knew I only wanted to be an actress, a model, and a Dallas Cowboy cheerleader. And I think
well, 2 out of 3, right?
Yeah, and I think the only reason I wanted to be a Dallas Cowboy cheerleader is because their uniforms were so cute. I used to watch football with my grandpa, and so I remember it was so boring. I didn't like it, but when the cheerleaders came out, like I was like, ooh, what are they doing? That looks fun. So anyways, but I knew at a young age.
I would imagine there aren't many women these days that go, that's got a great outfit, I'd like that job.
Yeah.
Maybe there's still time. Have you spoken to the team? I mean, there's...
No, that's okay.
You can't rule it out at this stage.
Yeah, no, I'm good. I've had friends. Yeah, no, I would not want to do cheerleading. My pom-poms on fire.
Give me an eye. Give me an eye.
You could be the stunt cheerleader. You could do it on fire.
Oh my gosh, that would be awesome. I should talk to Action Factory about it.
It's gotta
like,
happen.
hey guys, let's
gel these days. You can work it with gel. It'll be fine.
Who's Action Factory? Sorry, who's
Action Factory is a company based out of Los Angeles, and they are absolutely amazing. I've done a lot of not fire full burns, but anytime I run out of an explosion or a building that's going to explode, I always use Action Factory's fire protection because it's amazing. And it has like a smell that is pleasant to smell, that you don't mind rubbing it all over your body.
Like burning flesh.
Exactly. And they also sell a lot of really good equipment, like my stunt pads. Like they custom make my stunt pads, not just for me, but they make them for everybody.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I have these stunt pads that are so sleek that you can not even tell they're under my wardrobe. Right. And I can actually put them on like my knees, and I could not slam, but I could roughly just press my knee down to the ground, and I don't feel any pain. Like they're amazing.
Are they made of that gel? Are they made of that
I think
gel
they
thing?
are. That what the ice.
Because there's this red. I can't remember what it's called now. There's red stuff that's like it's like a flexible. You can bend it around. A lot of things I've got called from Scion, but you hit it and it instantly goes hard.
I've seen that stuff. I think it's different. I wanted that. Like when I first got into my into stunts, I was looking for that, and I had the hardest time finding a rep because I saw that the snowboarders were using
Dutch
it.
company.
Yeah,
it's a Dutch company.
So it's a little different.
There's also stunt bumpers, isn't there? Stunt bumpers came from the ice dancing
ice skaters.
Fraternity.
So I was buying all my pads. I was buying ice skater crash pads. That's what I bought. Yeah. And then stunt bumpers had, I believe it's the same material, but they made it specifically for stunts. And whatever those pads are made out of is just brilliant.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. Because I remember when I first got my...
Because that's the thing that us stunt people talk about, isn't it? We don't talk about what films have been on. We're feeling about, there's a piece of kit I'm using. It's really good. It slides into, and you put it anywhere you like. And every time you do a stair fall, there's always one bit of uncovered cloth that's gonna get it. That's gonna hit something, and it's always your wrist. It's always your wrist.
It's the one spot that has no protection. Is where it is. For the ice skater crash pads, I got these little tiny circles. They look like in American coins, let's say a quarter, little bigger than a pound coin. And I put them like on I'm pretty bony. So like, let's say my ankles, the bones that stick out, like I always make sure I have those bones protected. And especially being that I wear heels a lot for work. If I just knock those bones, it's like torture, like absolute torture.
It's a good point. We're talking about pads and bits and pieces, because that brings us quite nicely onto wardrobe, which you mentioned earlier. The difference, of course, between a stunt woman and a stunt man is that often the wardrobe separates the two. They might be doing the same stunt, the fall, the knockdown, whatever it is. But Blake's wardrobe will be very, very different to yours. And as you said yourself, 9 times out of 10, you're going to be wearing heels, or maybe a little skirt or a dress or something very flimsy, not much that you can cover up pads with. So how do you prepare for a stunt of that nature in the wardrobe that you're doing? How do you cope with that?
Well, I love just to really think about it. Like, I love a good challenge. So for me, I'm like, okay, how do I protect my knees without letting anybody, so that no one can see that I have any knee protection on, if I can wear them. And again, that goes kind of back to Action Factory, those pads I was telling you about. They're making them flesh, so they pretty much perfectly match my skin, which is really, really nice. And then there's also, I can't believe I can't remember the name of her company right now. Crystal Michelle, she's a stunt woman. She has, it's called Action Wear. And she has a company where she's making full body suits, and you go in and they match your skin tone up, and they customize them to your skin tone.
Wow.
Yeah. So there's that. But for me personally, like, I had to do a stair fall not too long ago, and I knew that I couldn't put anything on my knees, because although I was wearing a full length, really cool hipster, I think it was like a 60s, 70s style dress. I knew as I fell that my knees were going to be exposed, because the dress was going to come up. And so I just had to kind of roll with it. And I tried to put on some moleskin, just so I had just something there to protect my body.
The moleskin spray?
I was using just a sticker pad, but I didn't even know there was a moleskin spray, to be honest.
I think that they put it in cans now. I think you can get it in cans.
Spray, I love
liquid skin, I think they call it.
Oh, I want to look into that.
Yeah, it's when burst a blister, you spray it with liquid skin.
Oh, I know what liquid skin is.
Mold protects it.
Yeah, I should look into that.
Because also as well it's also because I've got a friend of mine who's working on a well-known Disney production that nobody knows about. And she was talking to me about putting pads into the costumes. So the performers just basically put the costume on, and it's all integrated into it, because of some of the ratchet work and the jerk backs and that sort of stuff they're going through. Because some people turn up with pads on and they can't get the costume.
Oh, see, that would be great. Well, I would absolutely, I would love that. Yeah, anytime I have wardrobe and there's pockets, I always throw a pad in the pockets, just so I have that there. Just any little protection.
I was going to say, tell us that thing you do when you've. We'll get on to knockdowns in a bit, because you've done a fair few of them. But I just wanted to, on the basis of that, you just said about pads. Just tell us that thing you do if you're going to do a knockdown and you want to make sure the windscreen gets broken.
Oh, so when I do like car hits, I always like to make sure. I always will put like quarters on my hard elbow. I'll tape them to my hard elbows, so that way I know when I'm rolling up on the hood and I hit that windshield, I could just whack my elbow back, and I can make sure I get a good crack. Because when a windshield shatters, it feels like you're going into a net, and it's such an amazing sensation. And I want to make sure every time I do a car hit that I get that sensation. I only do the car hits for the sensation of cracking the windshield. That's why I do them.
Thank you for watching. And remember, if you enjoyed that, then get yourself over to Apple Podcasts or type the Stunt Pod into any search engine to download, and subscribe to the full chat.